Today's webinar is for educational purposes. We're not going to be providing investment or tax advice in today's webinar. We're also going to go over your live questions. So go ahead and type them in on the live stream here, and we'll go ahead and address those as well. As always, please like this video as it helps us to get the word out on this important information for other solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, self-employed persons like you. I'll go ahead and share my screen here. Give me a moment. Okay, so with the self-directed solo 401k plan for my solo 401k financial, which allows for 401k participant loans, that's where you borrow from your own solo 401k plan. One moment here, please. Okay. Give me a moment here. Okay, so again, today we're talking about how to borrow from your Schwab self-directed solo 401k plan. The ability to borrow from a solo 401k plan comes down to the solo 401k plan provider. With the solo 401k from my solo 401k financial, you're going to be able to take a participant loan where you can borrow 50% of the solo 401k balance, not to exceed 50,000. And we're going to go over that in more detail in a moment. Now, you can borrow from a self-directed solo 401k plan if you use Charles Schwab or the brokerage accounts for the self-directed solo 401k. Schwab refers to those type of accounts as company retirement accounts. So you would open a self-directed solo 401k plan with my solo 401k financial. We would assist you in opening up the brokerage accounts at Charles Schwab, which again I call the company retirement brokerage accounts. So it's our plan that allows for the 401k participant loan, not the Schwab solo 401k. So Schwab offers their own solo 401k, but their plan does not allow for participant loans. However, they will provide company brokerage accounts for the solo 401k plan from a company like my solo 401k financial, and it's our plan that allows for processing a solo 401k participant loan. Let's talk about some of the solo 401k participant loan requirements. So the regulations require that the loan is documented. So we'll prepare a loan application for your signature. We also prepare the loan agreement and of course the loan amortization schedule. So those three documents there will satisfy the government regulations of documenting a solo 401k participant loan. Here are some of the rules. So it has to be a level amortization payment, which is typically either monthly or quarterly. The loan typically has to be repaid back within 5 years, so over a 5-year period. However, there is an exception. If you use the proceeds towards the purchase of your primary residence, you can then increase the loan period up to 15 or even 30 years, depending on your mortgage. And as I mentioned earlier, the loan amount cannot exceed 50% of your total balance, not to exceed $50,000. For example, if the market value of your solo 401k plan is $50,000, the maximum you can borrow is 50% of 50,000, equaling $25,000. Another example, if the value of your solo 401k plan is 100,000 or over, the maximum you can borrow is 50,000. So you can now go over that $50,000 limit. Now the interest rate is the prime rate plus 1 point. That's the loan payment interest amount. And that rate is fixed once the loan is processed, and the proceeds for the payment of that loan go back to your own solo 401k plan. So you are effectively borrowing from your own 401k. So we do prepare the loan documents when you're looking to borrow from the self-directed solo 401k plan, and you use Charles Schwab for the brokerage accounts for the self-directed solo 401k plan. Before we prepare those loan documents, you're going to want to review your loan balance. Excuse me, not your loan balance, but your account balance, so we can determine how much you can borrow. And then you're going to want to determine whether you're going to borrow for 5 years or longer. As I mentioned earlier, the loan term is 5 years, unless the proceeds are used towards the purchase of your primary residence, which can then be extended for 15 to 30 years. And then you're going to complete our online application. That's going to prompt us to complete the loan documents that I mentioned earlier. So the loan agreement and the payment schedule. That'll prompt us to prepare those documents once you complete the online application for that loan, which we typically prepare within 24, 48 hours. And then you're going to be able to download the loan agreement, sign it, return it back to us, and then you're going to go ahead and disperse the loan proceeds from that Schwab company retirement brokerage account for the self-directed solo 401k plan. You're going to be able to write a check for those loan proceeds, or you can submit a Schwab wire directive and they'll go ahead and wire those loan proceeds to your personal bank account. It's important to understand that the loan proceeds have to flow from that Schwab company retirement brokerage account for the self-directed solo 401k plan directly to your personal bank account or brokerage account, because you are the one that's borrowing from the plan. Well, here are some good loan facts to be aware of. The loan minimum is $1,000. The maximum we talked about already is 50% of the total value of your plan, not to exceed 50,000. Each participant in the plan can borrow from their own solo 401k plan. So if you've got a husband and wife business, for example, and they both participate in the plan and they both have funds in the plan, they can each borrow from their respective balance up to the 50%, not to exceed $50,000 limit per participant. We talked about the loan term is typically 5 years. It increases to 15 or 30 years if it's used towards the primary purchase of your primary residence. When you pay back the loan, you pay back with personal funds, not with solo 401k funds or business funds, but rather personal funds, because you're the one that is borrowing from the plan. We talked about how loan payments go back monthly or quarterly. They consist of principal and interest, paying back your own plan. You can pay the loan back early without prepayment penalties. You can have multiple loans, however, that cannot exceed that aggregate calculation of 50%, not to exceed 50,000. So it's not 50,000 per loan, it's an aggregate amount per participant. Okay, so that's how the That's how you can borrow from your Charles Schwab self-directed solo 401k plan brokerage account when you utilize a self-directed solo 401k plan provider, such as my solo 401k financial. As I mentioned earlier, you can process the loan proceeds from that brokerage account once we prepare those loan documents by check, or you can submit a wire directive to Schwab. If I can pull that up here. Here we go. Here's the link on our page titled Charles Schwab Wire Directive for Processing Solo 401k Participant Loan. Well, you would complete this form after we prepare the loan documents, and you would submit this wire directive to Schwab. They'll process those loan proceeds by sending them from the solo 401k brokerage account to your personal bank account. All right, again, please like this video as it helps to get the word out with this important information to other solopreneurs like you. As the number of self-employed persons increases every day, and so we appreciate your participation in helping to get this important information to others like you. And again, we'll be back again here tomorrow. We go live every day. I don't see any questions on today's live chat, so that's all for today. Have a good rest of the day.